What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a special episode of the Kitchen Table Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Baden. I want to talk about a couple things. So today's just going to be a quick 15-minute episode. If you're listening, I appreciate you. We want to do a bit of a State of the Union, specifically both on the show, but also in the blue-collar space, man, as a whole. As many of you all know, I own my own blue-collar remodeling, roofing-focused company. All right, we don't just do roofing, so I always hesitate to say like roofing company, but we certainly are roofing focused. So, for all intents and purposes, we're a roofing company. We also do windows and a couple other things, but I've been everywhere, man. Through the last 20, 30 years of my life, I've been in some unions. I've done, sheet metal union, electricians union. My brother's in the union. So, I have a special place in my heart for all things blue collar. The blue collar industry, man, is in real trouble. The next wave of blue-collar workers here in the United States of America, I don't know where they come from. Truthfully, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being like a smartass. We have a problem. Here in the DMV, we're located in, not far from DC. We are being inundated with data centers, right? AI, tech, all these fancy things that we're, getting tossed at us daily, right? They all require data centers. And data centers have been great for our market and great for the local unions. The problem is, when I was coming out of high school, you either went to college or into a union, at least if you were a young man. Almost all of my friends went the union route. I went to college, super senior, got out. And honestly, man, I had a lot of regrets because I was worried, did I make the wrong move? All my buddies got houses and wives and they're building families because the unions pay well. And the unions, they have great benefits. And some people may or may not agree with that. But here's what I think is going to happen. Because when I was in the union for the little brief time that I was, it was just a whole different world than I imagine it is today. In that, there were so many people that wanted jobs. There were so many people on what they call the bench, right? People waiting to get in. That you couldn't even be remotely late. If you were late, even one time, they're like, dude, go home and fuck off, don't come back. And there always would be hey man, there's X amount of people on the bench. There's this many thousand people on the bench. At one point recently, in the last 5 to 7 years, talking with my brother, the electrician union, it was 1,500, right? Man, you're taking off a lot. There's 1,500 people on the bench. You can't be messing around. Don't be late. There's this many people on the bench. Talking to him recently, and it might be less than that now, there is 15 people on the bench, and they want to be there. Those people before didn't want to be there. They were waiting to get a turn to get a job. They wanted to be in the union that bad. So, I'm getting older. Not old, but there's a new wave of young people coming out and coming into their own and coming into the workforce. My wave is out of school, out of union trade school, journeyman now, and they're going to be working into being the old foremans and all that, in the next 20 years. Who comes in behind them? What happened? I know what happened initially. There was a huge emphasis on computers and tech. The tech boom, I think, is what happened. And I think what's going to happen is a return emphasis on blue-collar work because of AI, ironically. Tech boom happens. No one wants to do blue-collar work anymore. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's safe, but, nobody wants to do it. No one wants to work hard. That's what I really also feel unfortunately, the idea that hard work pays off is just gone. And folks have gotten a little softer, man. And that is not a slap in the face of a younger generation. I'm just don't know what I don't know how to say that in a way that's nicer, but like it does feel like people have gotten softer, just in general, across the board, not just the younger generation. Now, what I think is going to happen, what I was getting at is the irony is the tech boom happens and it kind of takes away from blue collar and steers them towards tech. And then as a result of the tech boom, we get AI. And AI starts to blow up and we get a lot of work for the blue collar workers because AI requires data centers. And my area specifically is just awash with data centers. Work for friends and family of mine that are in the unions for like the next, forever, really, for them, you know what I mean, for the rest of their career. So that's great as a result. Now, the AI that's come and put them to work is likely going to put a lot of the tech folks out of work. Not all of them, but let's take, for instance, the software companies and software sales and those guys, right? Like the software bros, I'm in sales, right? I mean, I do roofing, but like my job has always been on the sales side. Building sales teams, training salespeople. I started selling windows, then roofing became roofing, and it just was always roofing. But I went into solar and did other things. I've had a consulting company longer than I've had a roofing company. That's also what I do, right? I'm a sales consultant. I love sales. I love what sales can do for you. I love the unlimited earning potential behind sales. I love that you could be having a shitty week or a shitty day and just flipping the script and dialing yourself in and just, fuck it, I'm going to get the next one, and then boom, your week's made, right? I love the feeling of landing a big sale. I love sales. Software sales was crushing it. And I almost went into software sales, man. I had a good friend of mine, Mark, who was just like crushing it in software sales. And I was talking to him about like, to me, it was like the high class of sales, you know what I mean? Because I fell into like insurance and then remodeling sales. But sales is sales is sales. It's just, you know, software sales seem to have a little more stability in it, less commission only. And I think for the most part that was true. Well, now in talking to my neighbor, the state of the union for the software sales bros is precarious at best. AI is threatening to make their jobs obsolete. And not only that, but make their software that they represent obsolete. So again, I think what we're going to see is a renewed shift back towards blue collar because AI is just not, at least now, until we get robots doing some of this stuff, and that probably will happen eventually. But until then, that people element is just not going to be replaced anytime soon, right? If you were a smart young person, we're in a dire strait here in the DMV, and that, again, we have all these data centers, all this work that needs to go up, and they just don't have the people, right? The baby boomers are coming out of the workforce eventually. The largest redistribution of wealth is on the horizon because of that. There's a lot less of us. And already there was a huge shortage of blue-collar folks. I don't know who steps up. I mean, we need a new generation to come into blue-collar now, like yesterday. You know, there's just not enough. There's so much work and there's not enough labor. The labor force is not there. So they're going to have to throw. What I think is going to happen is these unions and tradespeople are going to be able to write their own checks. What's going to happen? I mean, like they're going to go from like a great paying job and a great career to like you're one of a couple thousand people that do this. What can we? And that I don't know if that's realistic. You know what I mean? I don't know if they can afford it, then they'll make it happen because they got to get the work done. But like, I don't know what that does to the market. I'm not smart enough to know. But my point is if you're looking to make a good living, a secure job, a secure wage, but also capitalize on the next big boom, I think it's blue collar, man. I really do. And I think it's like blue collar work. I really do. Because there's just no one to do it. You know, if you don't know what you're going to do, that's a great career to jump into. Take my company, for example. Like, we would love to have and train up a new young generation of roofers. The reason we don't is not because we save by subbing out or anything. I mean, the entire industry does that. From the billion-dollar top 3 roofing companies in the United States to smaller companies. But that isn't because that's what we want to do. In my opinion, it's because that is the option. There is no, we've tried to hire and recruit and bring in internal folks, and there's no Americans that want to do it at any rate. That's just not going to happen. So this idea, depends. Every once in a while, we'll get in a southern spot or something well, I want an American crew. Well, yeah, me too. But that doesn't exist, right? I couldn't pay enough to get them. I'd have to train them and hire them and bring them in, and then they just don't want to work. They don't want to do that work. So when does that stop? You got to realize supply and demand, young people. You've got some cards here, man, right? There's a big demand. And with all this deportation stuff going on, what we're seeing in our market recently is a ton of guys being pulled over and raids and all kinds of crazy stuff. Whether they get deported or not, I suppose, is up to whether they have papers or not. For us as licensed contractors, our job and our due diligence is to do our due diligence, make sure that our subcontractors are licensed, bonded, insured, workman's comp, all those things. Their business is in good standing, that they sign all the contracts, paperwork, tax documents. They just have everything that they're required to have as a subcontractor that we are supposed to look for as a general contractor. So we do that. What our job isn't is then the deep dive into their company and find out if, employee number 17 really is legit. You know what I mean? We don't know who was all on their payroll. So we can't even say unequivocally, and I'm just being honest, but we know for a fact that every single one of them, if their crews are Hispanic, are 100%. They say they are. They sign documents that say they are, but they could lie. You know what I mean? It's possible. There's certainly a lot of worry around here from them. So it just got me thinking, okay, well, what if there are more than we had thought, right? What if there were more undocumented folks or they were a little more careless than we anticipated? What if more lied than we thought? And that upends the industry to where, well, who's going to put them in then? Who do we have? Who's that next generation of folks coming to put these jobs in? Not just roofing, but all of them. Unions included. And that's where I really think, man, that we have got to do something to incentivize these young folks to come over here. And I'm trying to tell you that, I'm not trying to sell it and make it look cool. It's hard work, which is satisfying, but it's also an angle to play, right? You get in, learn it, get some, make some good money. And when it becomes what I think it will, make some great money. I just think it's a smart play, man, because AI is changing a lot. And the shift back to blue collar and what can't be replaced is coming as well. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I just kind of had this epiphany, thinking about that. Man, what would happen if we needed American crews for whatever reason, right? We wouldn't have any. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't have enough. So how do we fix that? What do we do to fix that? I think it's a conversation we have to have. I tried to bring it up on social media. I ended up deleting the post because it was just too volatile, and it wasn't intended to be. But you can't even post that without some negative inference being made that you either support undocumented or you employ undocumented. And it's dude, come on, right? I'm having a conversation about the state of the entire industry, not just roofing, but just the blue collar labor force as a whole is completely struggling to bring in new young Americans. Period. Unions, roofing, window, it doesn't matter. How do we fix that, right? Especially if, we find out that there were more undocumented folks and there were more businesses that had more undocumented folks than we anticipated as general contractors, or, that would be tough, so we've got to solve that problem in the long term, and get more young people in here. And what do you do in the short term, right? It's going to jack up prices. It's going to, labor shortages. It's just, it's an interesting thing, man. Having all this work and no one to put it in. So I really think, again, if you're a young person listening to this, you should really consider this. Talk to me if you're local to the DMV and you want to learn roofing, you want to learn installs, right? Talk to me. But I'm curious if you're a contractor in the DMV or anywhere else, because I know everywhere is different, right? Like there was a guy I was arguing with today. He's from Texas. Texas isn't feeling it like that yet, right? But other people in other parts have been feeling it for a long time. So, it just depends, man. I think the long-term solution is putting our people to work, but they got to want to work. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're taking jobs from people that want to do it. We've got to get some young people that want to come do this. You know what I mean? Whether documented or undocumented, we got to get some people. It's like that South Park episode. That's actually what I was saying this morning. Like, that's actually come true, it seems like. The South Park episode was Randy was hiring his handyman to come, like, fix his stove. And the dude's like, I'm good, man. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, I was going to throw you like $30 in a case of beer. He's like, dude, I don't need your handouts anymore, man. Like, I'm making thousands of dollars a day. No one can fix shit anymore. Like, the average American doesn't know how to do shit. So, like, we're in short supply. And the irony was, like, the homeowners were going to Home Depot and waiting outside of Home Depot, like they say, like, the undocumented folks usually do for work. Now the homeowners were waiting outside with signs asking for, like, please fix my stove, please fix my fridge. And I think this Hispanic guy drives by and, like, yells at Marsh and the rest of the homeowners, like, you guys get out of here. You're making the Home Depot look all shitty. So he, like, flipped the script on, like, the whole situation. And it's kind of what it's turning into, man. Like, the average American doesn't know how to turn a nail, a wrench, turn a wrench, drive a nail, fix a flat, change your oil. I don't know, man. So I hope we can change that. It's going to be really, really, really interesting to see where this goes in the next few years. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are. Go in the comments. Let me hear some thoughts here. Another thing, too, on the direction of the show, I really want to focus more over these next few months on sales-specific, roofing-specific. Those are my two favorite topics. It's my show, and we've kind of had like a wave of different business owners and entrepreneurs, and that's awesome. I've really enjoyed it. But I want to focus in a little bit, where we're getting to a place within the company where selfishly I'd like to talk to more business owners that are roofers, maybe some private equity companies, some brokers, just kind of keep up all things roofing. I went on Dimitri's show. I'm going on a podcast here soon. Roofing's been very, very good to me and a lot of other people. There's a lot of opportunity there, as well as sales. And just sales, all things sales, really, but sales training, sales methodology, sales tips, and just kind of focus in a little bit more on when you listen to the show from this point forward. I'd really like it to be a lot of value-driven stuff. You know what I mean? So it's been more entertainment with a mix of value. I want to get back to that foundational value-driven only. I hope you get entertained by it, but like you can listen to it on the way to your sales call or on the way to your job. And if you're a roofing business owner or a salesperson, you can get something out of it. So next week, we've got somebody coming on. We'll have to put a firm line on the sand and get to the guests that we have. But don't be surprised if we do something like a name change to kind of kick it off. So I'll leave you guys with that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, leave a review. It's how people find the show. And if you're listening to this and you do have a roofing company, or you have a remodeling company, or a blue-collar company, and you want to learn how to implement sales, retail sales, real retail sales, meaning the ability to one-call close, call me. Or don't call me. Go to our website, kitchentable.net, click consultation, I believe it is, and schedule a consultation with me, and we'll see if we're a good fit, and we'll see if we can help you. Because we are helping a lot of business owners here right now. I wouldn't say a lot, but compared to what we used to do, I'm still full-time involved in Potomac. We've got an event coming up this weekend where we're helping a couple companies, and we're doing a deep dive into retail roofing, the entire business model. 2 days, intensive, comprehensive overview. We're doing it again the following weekend. That's with one company. And I really dig that because that helps me get really into what they have going on. And if that works out, man, we'll probably just keep running it like that. Like, hey, if you're a good fit, it works out, we'll bring you up for a weekend, we'll jam for the weekend. I can't do it every weekend, got to see the family. But it's a cost-effective option for people. And if we're a good fit after that, and you want to continue to work with me and get some help, great. If not, great way to spend a weekend. So I like that. Let's see how it goes. It's going to start this weekend. I'll fill you guys in on how it goes. But if you're interested in that, do the same thing. kitchentable.net, click on consultation, and we can talk about that. Or find me on Facebook, Kenny Baden, and Instagram, the official Ken Baden. So, guys, thank you so much. I hope you got some value out of this. I was trying to be diplomatic, I suppose, with my approach to this. But I am concerned, but I also see the opportunity in it. But we got to figure something out soon. We got to figure something out soon because we are rapidly hitting a wall where it's like, what are we going to do? How is our infrastructure going to continue to move forward with no one that wants to do this? So hopefully we can figure it out. Leave your comments and ideas in the comments section, and we'll talk about it next week. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.